Carla Vazquez, and we're discussing local small business resources in Rochester, New York. And today we're discussing the A in Bail Team, Accounting Professional. And today I have with me Abbey Gardner, owner of Balance Bookkeeping LLC. She is an accounting professional, provides very, very important services for small businesses. So if you have an experience as a small business owner with an accountant or an accounting professional or a bookkeeper, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. So welcome, Abbey. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Carla. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. We discussed the importance of working with an accounting professional for a small business because for their own purposes, basically, so that they can be aware of the health of their business. I think many small businesses are not aware that that's something that most professionals or that they will deal with, including banks, are looking for them to be aware of. And so when they wait until they need lending, and it's an urgent situation, and then they're asked to provide certain financial statements, and they're a little bit put out, it raises some questions because these are pieces of information that they should have right from the start. So
Yes.
can you please share about what you do and specifically state how, it's helpful for small businesses?
Yeah, definitely. So what I do, I focus on the bookkeeping side. With accounting, there are lots of things that kind of falls under an umbrella of, but I focus on bookkeeping because bookkeeping is like one of the foundational pillars of a growing and successful business. Because so much of all of your finances that a business owner would be interested in, they start with good, clean books. So what I do for established businesses would be to manage those books, make sure that they're collecting all of their transactions, all expenses are accounted for, income's not being counted twice, or things that can mess up your books and mess up your financials. So when you go to need forecasting or budgeting or lending done or your tax strategy, those books are correct and they have good numbers to know what their health of the business is, as well as being able to do some of those other things with good, clean books.
Mhm.
I also do help new businesses who need to get started because I feel strongly that having your bookkeeping right should be done from day one.
Yes.
So I'm currently working on like a mini course for new businesses to have like a guidebook and some how-to videos so that when new business isn't able to outsource initially, but they're able to have things done and in place correctly to begin with. And then as they grow, to be able to outsource those tasks to someone like me as an accountant or a bookkeeper.
Okay, so you help those businesses set up their books so that
Yes.
if they can gather the information more easily to
Yep.
share with you and an accountant to get the information they need. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. Now, I understand that accountants also, frequently work with bookkeepers to meet
Mhm.
the needs, accounting needs of their clients. Can you talk about how you work with accountants?
Yeah, so what I do is the kind of like the day in, day out work of managing books for clients. And then I work with the accountant where they do more of like the tax strategy, the actual tax filing. Some handle certain entries that need to be done on the books that fall under their jurisdiction. So we work as a team. I do the day to day. They handle more like the year end and the
Mm.
taxes and tax planning to help a business owner to strategize some of those things where I handle the actual like heavy lifting of the day to day work.
That's good to know. Thanks for making that distinction. So, what types of mistakes or pitfalls have you seen with business owners that you can help them avoid? What type of advice could you give them to help avoid some of the pitfalls that are frequent?
Yeah, so I mean, the first one we talked briefly, like making sure that your books are set up right from the start, or if you don't have them set up, to do so now.
Mhm.
A lot of people put that off, and then it's a big mess later, and it's catch ups can be costly if you're having
Yes.
to catch up before tax season. So doing all of that work can be very costly. So getting started right now with
Key.
making sure you have separate accounts. A lot of people mix personal and business transactions, which is a definite no-no in the industry. It happens occasionally, but some people do so rather habitually, and so that's a big one to make sure that you separate your personal transactions and expenses from the business.
Mhm.
Making sure there's a clear distinction. It protects you legally, and it's also makes your financials a lot more cleaner.
Mhm.
Another thing would be miscategorizing transactions. People who mark something as an expense and it's a loan repayment, or missing transactions, missing expenses that they could be counting. And that's getting missed. So those are some big ones, as well as accounts receivable. So if people use invoices for whatever work they're doing, that can be a very difficult thing to manage. If people don't put them into the software, if they're not marking them as paid, or if they're counting them income twice. I've seen that happen. I did a big cleanup where we saved them 80 grand worth of income that they hadn't made because it was counted twice in the books.
Oh, wow.
So that can be kind of a sticky point to make sure that your accounts receivable is clean and being well managed.
Yeah, yeah. So, is there anything else that you'd like to share about as far as accountants and small businesses and your services, as far as, determining who to go to for what? As I know you said you do the day-to-day. When you say day-to-day, how often do you communicate with small business owners?
So it kind of depends. Some clients I do work for, because of their size and like workload, it's more like a quarterly service. So I touch base every 3 months, catch up on their transactions, run reports, do reconciliations, to make sure that everything's clean and looks good about every 3 months, and then hand stuff off to their CPA, or
the tax filing, yeah.
To do the tax filing at the end of the year. Other clients who are a little bigger, if you have a lot of transactions coming through, a lot of money coming through, that's more of you want a pulse on that monthly. So I make sure that everything's going through monthly. All their financial reports are done monthly. I usually send them a synopsis of what the reports are telling them, because it's one thing to just look at a piece of paper with numbers. If you don't know what you're looking at, it's not really helpful. So part of my job is showing like what these mean, what the balance sheet means to them, what their income statement or profit and loss means to them, and how it compares to some previous periods, is a lot of what I do to really keep a finger on the pulse of the health of the business.
Exactly.
And that's what a bookkeeper mainly does.
Yeah, yeah, okay. And that's great to know, because when you're thinking about those aspects of accounting, and you're thinking about, well, okay, the accountant is going to do my tax filing, and that's what they primarily do.
Yes.
If you work with your accounting professionals, including the bookkeeper, you can eliminate some of that angst and some of that stress when it's time to do lending. Because I tell clients all the time, your bookkeeper and your accountant can let you know, they can say, this is a good time to make that big purchase or to get that large lending. And then it's just less stressful for the business owner when they present their information to the bank.
Yeah, and they actually would have the information to know, like we talked about, what those numbers are telling them, what it actually means, and not just a piece of paper they slide over the desk to you.
Right. Yeah, right, when they're asked. And then, it does send up red flags when a business owner says, oh, no, I don't have that, but I'll get it. And then they hand it over. It does give the impression, that they may not be as knowledgeable, to your point about the health of their business. Right. So, Abby, well, let's end with, we always end each segment in each video with a segment with 3 tips for business owners to take away regarding the topic. So what 3 tips would you have for business owners regarding bookkeeping?
So regarding bookkeeping, my top 3 would be, the first one is set up separate banking for your business and bookkeeping software. Get that up and running as soon as possible, from day one or now if you don't have it already. Tip number 2 would be to stay on top of the weekly and monthly bookkeeping tasks, including bank reconciliations, because that is essential for your own knowledge, as well as year end for tax time. Your CPA will love you. And then also another thing would be to make sure that you attach receipts. Keeping receipts is really important, but it can be bulky to have physical receipts. So a really easy thing to do is attach a digital copy to the transactions in software, so that all of your receipts are stored within the software, connected to the transaction. They're ready at the hand if they're ever needed, and it makes things a lot easier. You don't have to save 2 boxes full of receipts. Right.
And what types of, I know QuickBooks is popular. What software do you recommend for business owners when they're interested in keeping their books?
Yeah, QuickBooks is by far and away the big one in this in this country. Another one that's like kind of up and coming in the US, has been highly used in the UK and Australia, is Xero, spelled Xero.
Mhm.
I am certified in Xero as well. And so that's another nice platform. It's very user friendly. There are some differences between QuickBooks and Xero, but it's kind of like personal preference, sort of like Apple and Android. They both function the same way, just things are in different places. It's an affordable option for new business owners. I would say more so than some of the QuickBooks for what you get.
Okay.
So that's another good one. Xero, there are lots and lots of software out there, but Xero and QuickBooks are the two big ones, and probably one or the other of them would suit most business owners' needs for what they would need it to do.
Okay, so there's another tip about the software. Thank you so much. Thanks, Abby, again, for sharing your insight and your expertise. And
Oh,
if you
absolutely.
would like to reach out directly to Abby, Abby's contact information will be in the comments. So until next time, and the next time, our next video is going to be focusing on the I in Bail team, the insurance professional. So stay tuned and thanks for watching. Take care.